Hi, everyone. Welcome to Parker Live. My name is Christina Holtzhauser. I'm an executive assistant at Parker Staffing. For those of you who haven't viewed a Parker Live before, the goal is really to put some good into the world. We're hoping that you leave feeling recharged and maybe even learn something new. Today, we have the co-creators of Movement Principles all the way from Austin, Texas. We have Chouman and Trevor Gibbs. Hi, guys.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
How are you?
Hi there.
Hi. I was wondering if you guys wouldn't mind starting out by introducing yourselves and sharing your background with us.
Yeah, of course. So as you said, we Movement Principles started in Austin about 2.5 years ago, and a little more than that now, but started as a free meetup, just really as an educational thing once a month, just to teach people a different way to train, a different way to view their body, a different way to communicate. And it has grown from then. And, I tell everyone there were 3 people at the first one, and one of them was my mom. And, and so now we've got several hundred in our group. And, it just grows a little bit more each month. But Dawn came to the second one, and she's been with me we've been together ever since. And she's one of the teachers, and we had a lot of fun growing it. And so my background is used to train grew up kind of under the influence of a gentleman named Paul Check, because my stepdad was pretty high up in all of his holistic health trainings. And after that, I started training with a guy named Ido Portal, who is pretty well known amongst starting something called like the movement culture, where it's a combination of everything: gymnastics, dance, strength training, mobility, different, martial arts, just everything. And I trained with him quite a bit for a couple of years. And, we were training kind of 4 to 6 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And then probably 5.5 years ago, I started training with a gentleman named Will Chung. He's lives up in New Jersey, and found him through the grapevine, and been with him ever since, and really basically loved his message of taking everything down to a foundational perspective, and how important communication is, not only with our bodies and training, but just this, talking with other people and supporting others. And it really brought I don't like to use the word holistic, but it brought a holistic approach to kind of everything that I had been doing before. And so what we're going to do today is a drill that he's shown. Don also works with him, and it's a drill that he showed us, and we're going to show y'all. So there's a quickie of my background. Go ahead, Don.
I have been teaching Pilates for about 15 years now. And I constantly was looking for different education, because I knew Pilates was wonderful, but there was always more. And the first day I found Trevor, I was like, I want to work with you. So that's what we did. I can be a little persistent. So that's what happened, and it's been fabulous. He introduced me to our coach, Will Chung, and he is the Joseph Pilates of our day, in my opinion. He is a movement genius, and his genius is in the simplicity. As you have experienced, the drills are simple but not easy.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I was surprised. I when I saw you do them at first, it looked easy, and I did it myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, it engages everything. And I'm really excited for you guys to, show us these movements.
Yeah, so we'll this is I think you said that all your prior lives have been interviews and just talking. And so for anyone watching this now, or even if you're at your desk, this is the reason we're showing this drill is get up and do it. You know, and if you don't feel comfortable doing it at work, obviously you can go back and rewatch this and do it at home. But we're gonna do one drill today. We're gonna do 5 minutes on each side, on each leg, and that's gonna be it. And so this is a drill called walking without walking. And the title of this live is the self-defense of falling. And so the reason we called it that is to pay homage to Will's martial arts background. He's a third generation martial artist from South Korea, but this is the drill he showed us. And this is a drill that he came up with because he was working with a lot of clients who, whether they were elderly or just frankly, you know, kind of weak, whatever it was, is people were slipping in New Jersey in the wintertime. And so this was a way to teach people how, you know, to catch themselves from falling. And so we use it as it's a very good analysis tool for us. It lets us see where people are segmented. It lets us see, you know, if there's knee pain, if there's ankle pain, why. And really the whole point of the drill is just, we're going to go for 5 minutes straight. We're going to work it. Don't stop. You know, you will feel it. As you said, it looks very simple, but go for a couple minutes and you'll start understanding why this is such a important drill. And so it's going to turn on, you're going to feel the arches of your feet. You're going to feel all your stabilizer muscles. You're going to feel your glutes. You're going to feel everything. And the whole point is to teach people how to sink and get into their hips. Because especially I know that this is for a lot of y'all's clients and a lot of people that spend time at the desk. We carry all our stress, tension, anxiety, frustration, all that stuff up here. And so this is a way for us to send it down. We want to take all of that and put it in our lower body and get really, really heavy in our legs. Because that's that's a physical representation of calm down, be grounded. You know, that we want to teach people what that feels like rather than just saying it. So this is something I give everyone I work with at the office when they're stressed out. Just get up and do 2 minutes of this. You know, you're at the house, the kid, the significant other, whatever, go do 2 minutes of this. It's a great tool for not only healing the body, but just getting you out of your head and feeling something else. So that's why we chose that drill today, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna do a quick demo, and then Dawn's gonna do it with me, and she's gonna be our demonstrator today and do the full 5 minutes each side. That way, whoever's watching or watches this later can work along with her. So what we're gonna do, get this lower. What we're gonna do is, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So we're in V footing. So I've got my heels together. I'm gonna go up on my toes and go into I footing. So the outside of my feet are parallel. So I'm gonna feel slightly pigeon-toed. And this is the important part of the drill. If I say lift one leg up, you can see my body shift, right? So what we wanna do is we wanna shift to one side first. And so I'm gonna think, you know, happy hour after work, bar stool. I'm gonna sit one cheek on the bar stool. And now when I lift my leg, there's no shifting of my body. You see the difference? So once I got that cheek on the bar stool, I'm gonna lift this leg, and all we're doing is we're gonna send it back and then forward. And so this drill is called walking without walking, and you can quickly see why. So Dawn's gonna do a side view. And what we're doing is this is quickly gonna teach you if you know how to sit in your hips or not, because the second you start coming out, we're gonna start getting into this balancing act. So if you're balancing, I like to tell people it's not a balance issue, it's a crease issue. It's a sitting in your hip issue. And so I'm gonna start the clock. I may do this with y'all. I don't know, is Dawn's video cutting out on y'all as well?
Just a little bit.
Okay, I'll do this with y'all
Okay.
just in case. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. And so V footing, I footing, and we're literally just gonna do this for the next, we'll say 4 minutes. And what you're gonna notice, maybe the first 30 seconds, minute, you know, if people are really in shape, first minute and a half, 2 minutes, you know, may feel kind of easy. But then you're gonna start noticing muscles in the bottom of your feet, in the arches. And this is a drill I've used to help people rebuild the arches in their feet. So if you've got flat feet or weak feet or constantly cramping in the feet, whatever it may be, you don't know how to, you know, you can't spread your toes. This is a drill I've used to help rebuild arches in the feet. So that's number one. Number two is, and I'm gonna show side as well, because what we're doing is we're sitting back, there's a difference between locking the hip and moving from the knee, which is what most people start out doing, versus what I want you to do is I want you to sit back in the hip. And so there's like a double sit on that bar stool. And you can see now that my hip's not locked up, I'm able to not load basically what I'm doing is I'm loading the hip and not the knee. When I lock the hip and I just move from the knee, I put a lot of, my knee should be able to go over my toes, but I'm putting a lot of pressure on my knee by locking the hip. And what I want to do is I want to let the hip loose, because that allows my spine to be loose, which allows my shoulders to be loose. And that way I can be a little more fluid and casually walking rather than robotic and wondering why I might have knee pain or ankle pain or whatever it may be. So we're about halfway there. So if you're following along, keep going. This is when those 4 or 5 minutes feels like a long
Feel a
time.
nice burn.
And so another thing you can think of, if you're leaning this way, you're counterbalancing. You're not in your hip anymore. You're trying to counterbalance. And so what you want to do is you want to take it back, find that bar stool, sit down again. That way you can be more upright as you do this. This is something that, Dawn, I'm going to have you keep going. What this does is, you know, if you think of a toddler learning how to walk, first thing they do is they get up and they stabilize. So that's what we see a lot of people stabilize. Step two, toddler, what do? They kind of get this Frankenstein walk going, right?
Yeah.
So when we do this, we see a lot of people where, you know, Dawn's doing a nice job of doing opposites, but we see a lot of people go same side, which is just mimicking this Frankenstein. And then as, you know, as the toddler gets stronger and they learn their motor system, all that gets better, then, you know, our Frankenstein walk turns into something much smoother and nicer. And then that's where, as Dawn's showing you now, where we end up in this nice opposite controlled motion here. So this is also, you know, whether it's really for anyone, but especially, you know, like if it's one of our elderly clients or someone who just got injured and literally needs to relearn how to walk, it follows that same process. Let's go about 30 more seconds, Dawn. It follows that same learning process that a toddler naturally does when they learn to walk. And so there's a lot to this drill, and there's a reason why we're showing it to y'all, and there's a reason why we show it. Really, it's the first drill that we use for everyone because there's so much, gives us so much information and so much feedback. All right, let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, take a break. So If you've been, if you just did that along with us, I'm sure Don will tell you, but that leg that was grounded, so the non-swinging leg, is going to feel
burning
200 pounds, like it weighs 200 pounds. Like, yeah, it'll be burning, but it's also going to feel extremely heavy.
Yes, sir.
And so, we kind of joke around. It's like, all right, we're half grounded. We've done one side, we're half grounded. So now we got to, good news, we're halfway done. Bad news, you got another side. So now we're going to switch. We're going to do that same exact setup. And I'm going to start the timer here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So something that people can, I'm going to talk through a few things while she's going, but walk around in between these so you can feel the difference on the sides, because it is noticeable. And another thing is, if you look at Dawn, she's doing a nice job of keeping her shoulders down.
Oh yeah.
She's not walking like this, which is what us typing, us texting, us driving, so we get in these positions where we call it kind of Pez dispensing, where the chin goes up and our shoulders are up in our ears. And we wonder why we have neck pain and shoulder pain, and more importantly, low back pain. This is how I help people with low back pain. Because what low back pain is shoulders are up here, our hips are locked, we're disconnected.
Yeah.
So if we can get people using their muscles, then that's going to spread out not only in our lower body, but Dawn's also doing a nice job of pulling her ribs in, pulling her belly button in. And now we're turning on our glutes, our hamstrings, our calves, our feet, our low abs.
Yep.
We're turning on all these muscles, which is just all that tension that usually goes right to the low back. We're now spreading it out across the body. And that way we're not hanging on, we're getting out of our joints and into our muscles. And when you get into your muscles, then you can free the joints. And so again, a lot going on here, but this is an easy 5 minutes a day on each side consistently. You do that every day, and I think that this will be, especially for those that might be having any issues, any pains. We've seen some
I think we lost you, Trevor. How are you feeling, Dawn?
We see a lot of different. My butt's burning. We see a lot of different pain with this. So this is something that I teach people who have hip pain, knee pain. It doesn't matter. We work it all. So if somebody's feeling knee pain through this at all, I just make sure that I'm using all 4 corners of my feet so that the knee's not rolling in, or I'm not dipping forward on this. So if anybody's feeling that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's, this is a assessment tool, for any of that. If there's ankle pain, if there's knee pain, whatever it may be, that helps us address what's going on with their patterns. And we start with this, and it may not be the sexiest drill in the world. It's not we're not putting 300 pounds on a barbell and telling people to squat or anything like that. But how many steps are we taking a day relative to every other movement we do? Most people are taking several thousand steps a day. And I know my mom, she's got her Fitbit, and she gets in her 10,000 steps every day. That's a lot of iterations of the same movement. And so we start there because that's what she's doing the most of. And we've learned it from Will. He certainly has helped us through these assessments, but walking, sitting, standing, lying down, for most of us, that is the majority of our day. And so we use these types of drills. We have drills for all of those that we start people out at, because that's, again, that checks off the majority of the day. Dawn, you got about 35 more seconds, and anyone else who's following along with it.
So Trevor, for people who are new to this, I mean, would you recommend starting out with like a minute, or you still think 5 minutes is good for beginners?
I think that you should start out with where you are.
Okay.
30 seconds may feel like 30 minutes to some people. So if that's where you start, I would say that do as many. What I tell people, especially my office clients, set a timer on your phone for whether it's every hour or every other hour throughout the day, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and get up and do something. I say do this, but that's something. If you're let's say 30 seconds a minute just feels like your leg's about to blow up in a good way. Set your alarm for every hour and do a minute on each side. Use that as your time to get away from the computer, get up, get some blood flowing, do something different.
Yeah.
And just do that. And, through the course of the day, that's going to work you up through, 5, 8, 10, 15 minutes, depending on if you're doing it at home as well or not. So that's how I would build up volume in this. And then whatever you feel doing this, that's what you want to create throughout the rest of the day when you're just walking around. Because the goal of this drill is not to get good at this drill. The goal is to feel what we need to feel so that we can then apply it to walking, running, standing, sitting, every, sports, like whatever you're into.
I love that. Dawn, are you burning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're done. You got me talking, and I didn't tell her to stop.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, she's probably done. We're done.
Yeah, so there was 6.5 minutes. If anyone else
like,
is
I know
following
what
along.
that feels like.
I do. I know. I did your course, and yeah, it was interesting just watching your movements that look easy, but then once you actually do it yourself, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so engaging. And then after the class, I felt it for several days.
Yeah.
You guys are good.
Well, we would say now
Thank
Dawn
you.
is, Dawn's probably fully grounded now.
I am.
But it is, I'd highly recommend everyone giving that a shot, just to feel the difference before and after.
I love that. And that's just an easy break, just right at your desk. And it's just, you don't have to get changed, which is really nice. And
right.
you have a lot of space. So it's perfect.
Yeah, no equipment, no space. You don't even have to take your shoes off. It's just a very, as you said, a very simple drill that can be done anywhere. Yeah. How you feeling, Dawn?
Hips are warm, feeling grounded, good. Feeling like that number 6, not a 9. Yeah.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. This was really great having you show us this movement. I'm looking forward to doing it myself later. I didn't want to show the world. Looking forward to setting my timer at work and taking little breaks to do this. So this is a fun thing I'm going to incorporate.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank y'all for having us.
Absolutely. And all of you out there, if you want to connect with Trevor.
Thank you for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you out there, if you want to connect with Trevor and Dawn, you can find Movement Principles. They're on Meetup. It's in Austin. So they have Movement Principles and Movement Principles for Women. And Dawn's company, Harmonious Movement, that's at iamtotalwellness.com under the Pilates tab. Thanks again for being here, guys.
Yeah, and just real quick, I just wanted to say that, we are very open for anyone that may be interested. Very open to worked with people online. We've worked with groups online, and seminars, workshops, just anything that people may be interested in. We've probably done, and so I just wanted to throw that out there as well. And if I don't know if I'll say my email real quick. I don't know if that was on the flyer, but if anyone wants to reach out, it's Gibbs, GIBBS, TH, as in Trevor Howard, at gmail.com. And so if y'all want to message any questions for me or for Dawn, you can just send them there, and we'll answer them. We'll take care of it. If you want to send videos of y'all doing the drills, do that too. We'll give you some feedback.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's nice of you to offer. That's sweet.
We will respond. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you again. Thank you for sharing
Okay.
your knowledge and your time, your movements. This was really fun.
Yeah, appreciate you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Absolutely. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks for having
All
us,
right, see y'all.
Christina. Bye-bye.
Bye.